We're in the booth at St. Peter, and this is the audio console. And since we're doing this kind of out of order, we'll go to the core. It's the same audio console. It was done that way intentionally, and it's even laid out intentionally the same, so volunteers can move back and forth and feel familiar with how it works. So one thing to note about St. Peter is that the AV company that was in here tried to figure this out, but with the older system and the upgrades, there is a pop that happens in the speakers when you power this mixer on. I feel like it's gotten better than it used to be, but there was a time where it was like as loud as a gunshot. Like, it was really loud. So to alleviate that, we have the process, and I instructed the pastors to do this, and I probably need to instruct some of the newer pastors the same thing, is when they come in early on Sunday, before you turn the system on at the touch panel, turn this mixer on first. That because the amplifiers are not on, it won't pop in the speakers. And then at the end of the day, you power the system down first and then shut this down so there's not a pop when you turn it off. So you want the speakers to be off when you turn this guy on and off. So, and I was just mentioning, I noticed that this was shut down improperly because all the faders are all over the place. There is a shutdown process for this to turn it off. So the power switch is underneath the bottom, in the bottom, very bottom corner down here. And it'll reset all the faders there. So for the audio, we do have Jesse Quintanilla, who's part-time on staff, who really focuses on audio. So he can, I think I'll just do like a brief overview, but he's the guy who knows the ins and outs and has set up the files and gets this ready for both campuses. So you see it all appear magically, and probably the couple things that I would just mention, you'll have to dive into this if you haven't worked with the audio. I really do like this. We chose this just because of the visual layout of the signal path. It's really easy to kind of tell where the signal path is going. That's why we chose this one. Probably the couple of main things are just noticing that the gains are over there and the fan and power control is over there. The pastor mics, we'll see this in both places. That was something that took a little bit for me to understand, was anything that's coming in on Dante, you can't adjust gain. The gain is already adjusted. You can just set the trim. Gain has to do with like the amp, I think, the little tiny preamp, when a microphone gets plugged into how it produces that signal. Since it's digital, there is no preamp. And so it's just trimming the signal that's already there. So, but you can see first of all, you can see the path it goes through EQs, compressors before it gets sent to either aux sends, group assigns, or direct outputs. And before it does all of that, you can send it to record sends here. And this is how we connect both of our campuses now on Dante to our live stream audio. All of our channels are sent out on Dante. And you can see here's all of your local I/O, which is the back of this guy. And UB Maddie is the snake. No, sorry, that's the USB port. You can plug a computer into the USB port and get all the channels of audio, which is how we used to do the live stream. Just over a single USB cable. That's what UB Maddie stands for. Okay. So we did used to do that, but we switched everything to Dante now. And so each channel is sent out on a Dante channel, and then it comes in on a Dante channel, and that's where Dante Controller comes in, because you patch one device's output to another device's input, patch and patch and patch and patch and patch and patch.
All in Dante.
All in Dante, in the controller. So you can move things around. So we've kind of, it's really hard to organize, like a nice numbering system. But Dante Controller remembers all of that stuff.
And Dante is inside the QSC?
Yes. So Dante is an audio network capability that devices can have installed or operate with. So this has a Dante card in it. The live stream audio computer has the Dante virtual sound card, which you can put it right on a computer and bring that as an audio. The QSC is built Dante enabled, so it has the Dante stuff installed in it. We upgraded our Aviom unit, which we just talked about back there. We had the regular one, but then we got the Dante enabled version that can also receive audio through Dante. So devices put that into their devices. They put the Dante capability into it with a hardware piece, or in this case, just a software can do it.
So inside the QSC is the mapping of where all the Dante things are, how they're connected.
There's not, with Dante, I don't really fully understand it, but it's not like there's not like a central hub.
Oh,
It's when you're on the network, the Dante enabled devices can see
all the
each
other
other.
Dante devices.
And the Dante controller shows all of them that are visual, and it just they patch and they talk to each other. So it's more like a network than it is like a server mainframe and connected things.
Okay.
It's like just a
network. How do you access that Dante controller?
You do it on the computer that has the Dante virtual sound card. And that's how it sees into that. Everything. So you need the computer. And actually, I don't think you need the Dante virtual sound card. I think you can just download Dante controller, which is free. And you have to plug in your network line into the Dante network. And I think it will see it.
It'll see everybody.
The Dante virtual sound card allows that computer to then take in and out audio.
Oh, okay.
For like Ableton for live stream mixing. So I believe actually Dante controller, you don't need the virtual sound card to actually see and manage it. You just got to plug a computer into the Dante network. So I'll pull that up in our next episode. So everything is now patched to Dante. We have the pastor mics are coming in on Dante, and then this thing is sending it out on Dante, so we can get that anywhere else. It's a network, so you can pull it into various places. The source, this is important on any campus, and then the audio team should know most of this. This is where the sound is coming from. So I'm on the pastor mic, and as we talked about before, the pastors are going into the QSC first, so they can be used in quick mix mode. And then it's being sent out on Dante. So we want to pull that pastor mic in here. So we have the source is Dante channel 2 is how that pastor mic is getting from the QSC to here, so that we can do it in contemporary service in the console mode. We have a computer here at both campuses as well. This is Jesse's doing, which I think is really great. This is a reference microphone, which gets aimed, I think he's just setting it up here like this for right now. It gets aimed at the speakers in the room, and it gives you a very accurate EQ reading of what's happening in the room that you can visualize. So we have this at both campuses as a tool for our audio engineers to be able to see the EQ of the room while they're mixing. And if like, oh, something doesn't sound right, they can see if like there's a frequency that's loud, and then they can try and dial that down. So it's a helpful tool for our audio engineers. On here also is Ableton. And what we can do is called a virtual sound check. And this is something I learned at SALT and I'd heard about. Basically, this is where that USB comes in. The UB MADI. I can take our keys, our electric guitar, acoustic guitar, all of our instruments, and patch them. Let's just pick one, acoustic guitar, on a record send, UB MADI, and it's already on USB out 5. I can do that for all of my channels. I can go into Ableton and bring those in there, channel 5 on there, put all of our instruments in Ableton, and then I can do what's a virtual sound check. I press record on Ableton while the band is playing. They're like done with their practice. They go home. I can, as long as this is set up properly, which it's not right now, there's a recording return right here. So record send, record return. So that was on number 5 of the acoustic. It should be UB Maddie 5. It should be coming back on the same channel. So let's just say I did that. I have it going to the computer, coming back on the computer. There is a fancy dancy button right up here, and we have in our shortcut called Listen to Copied Audio. If I press that, you see little tape recorder icons appear on all of these where there is a return set. I can press play on Ableton with the band that they just practiced, and it's going to bring all the audio in to my board as if the band is here practicing. And I can mix and play and EQ and compress and learn and train other audio people as if the band were here, because it's coming in on individual channels, as if the audio was coming from up there from those people.
Okay, cool.
So we set that up at both campuses. So whoever's production manager, this would be a great thing. Jesse has kind of done a little bit of it, but really push, I think the training piece is, you could record a band and just save it as a file on the computer and come back to that at any time. So doing that is a great way to train people when the building's empty, and give people practice, because they're not going to mess anything up.
Yep.
So that's another reason why we have this computer at both campuses. And also we can record a service, and we did this for our live album. It's the same concept. We brought all the tracks in individually, pressed record, and then I can take that and produce an album afterwards.
So because you got the raw audio.
Raw audio, and here you can see it's before any processing. It's just the raw audio. And you can see even the signal path change, because now the source is the recording return, and that's sending it into the mixer. So it visually tells you what's happening.
That happened when you pushed that button.
When I pressed it. So now it's saying the source of the audio that you're hearing is record return, USB in 5. Listen to copied audio. Here's that button. I could do that just for one channel by doing that. Listen to source, listen to copy audio. There was a couple times where this button got bumped, or someone was doing that and forgot to turn it back. And I got a phone call. I'm getting nothing from anybody. I'm like, are there little tape recorders? Yes. There should be a button called Listen to Copy Audio. Press that button, and all of a sudden, oh, there, everything. So that is something to watch out. Oh, it's right. It's actually Listen to Sources is right next to it. If I do that, it switches all the channels back to that. So that's just something. Watch out for that little bump. That's happened a couple times. Listen to sources or listen to copied audio. Are there any other things on this that are good to know? Again, talk with Jesse about this. There are presets. I'm not sure how much we're using that. Or if we do EQ and compression settings on Vocalist, we can save those and pull up later. Jesse's more of the opinion, like, it's better to learn by actually doing it and hearing the difference each time, which I see that is a valid point. I like to try and make things easier for volunteers and allow them to be successful as much as they could. So there's that. Also, an important thing here are safes. These are things that will not change if you change scenes and go from scene to scene. So there is a scene system called Sessions and Snapshots. And when we load a file, Jesse has it set up under, I think, Sunday services. We have a base session. Audio engineers are instructed to bring that one up first, which is a baseline starting point for every service. You start there, and then basically you do a file save as, name it the Sunday, and then make your changes. So you want to do that first so that we're not making changes to the base session. We want that one to be the same all the time. I think I will just make mention for AI to document for us. We just finally figured out a minor issue at both campuses, which is underneath the audio. Yes, it's underneath the audio sync. So if I go on the preferences into the audio sync button, oh, it's set here again to clocking source So this was our issue with clicking and scratching and popping sounds. We need this to be set to DMI2 as the clocking source. That is the Dante card in the back. So the clocking source, which is something you can ask AI about, it'll probably explain a lot more detail, is how it keeps time.
Mhm.
And it's been set on an internal crystal inside this unit instead of using the Dante card as the reference point. So
we want the Dante
we
card.
want the Dante card so that all the devices are talking to each other are on the same clock. And what was happening was they're on different clocks that are just barely different.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to correct itself, it would give a little crackle or a pop. That's why we had the crackling and popping on the live stream audio, and stuff like that.
Okay.
We had to fix some of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Either that or that was switch configurations. But crackling and popping in the room for sure was this clocking source needs to be set to DMI2, which is the Dante card in the back of the unit.
Okay.
And we run on 48 kilohertz. Again, the sample rate, we need that to be 48 kilohertz because all the other devices are also running on 48 kilohertz. Okay. So that needs to be the same as well. Okay, so then when you're done mixing, the proper shutdown method is to go into the menu button, restart or shut down. You can press shut down right here. Are you sure you want to shut down? Yes. It goes through a shutdown sequence, brings all the faders to 0. When you see the power icon on the screen, you're safe to shut it down. And that's what someone must have not done before. Again, it's like a little computer. It just does better if you shut it down like a computer. Headphones are down here to plug in, and also the keyboard and mouse for that computer are underneath the audio desk here. While we're on audio, just to point out back here too, these are the microphones that are on the QuickMix system. 2 Pastor mics, 1 handheld. The ones that are on QuickMix we keep back here. The ones that are on console mode for the band we keep up there.
Okay.
So QuickMix microphones that work on QuickMix, and they do work on console mode. It just comes to there. But those microphones only work on console, the ones that are up by the musicians.
So you mentioned for the Pastor mics, the wire.
Yes.
Depending upon the habits of the pastor, may need to be replaced.
Yes. So these wires are thin. They're pretty resilient, but Pastor Tim liked to coil it up a lot. So I have back here, I ordered a new one. I just, at both campuses, I have a spare Pastor microphone cable just sitting back here to just have a quick replacement because it'll just start crackling loud.
Okay.
And just
you have one of those at the core too?
At the core, yep. I have one at both campuses just as a backup.
Okay.
I didn't point this out. This is also at both campuses. This is a talkback microphone wired into the mixer that goes to the musicians' ears. So the audio guy can talk to the musicians in their ears if there's any communication that's needed there.
Okay.
Those are the most important things, I think, for this. So I think that's
the board.
Good for the audio. I didn't point out directly, maybe I will. These are also room mics, just like at the core.
Yep.
And there are 2 hanging ones up there. And then we installed the 2 shotgun ones at the very top of the columns. You can barely see them over the top of there to give the room noise. All 6 of those, identical 6 basically at both campuses. And that is what we will next be doing, which is live stream audio.